Good evening, Dana Bergstrom here from Washington, D.C. Tonight I will be talking to you about the professional development plan that I have put together for Nest Restoration, my current employer. We'll be talking about who is Nest Restoration, what is the need of this plan, where is this taking place, when is it happening, why is this training needed, how is it being evaluated, and some of the concerns and goals of the company. So to start off, I'm going to show you a little video.
Ness LLC has been serving the Treasure Valley since 1995. All of our employees are trained, uniformed, drug tested, and background checked. Ness LLC holds an A+ rating through the Better Business Bureau, serving our customers with fire and water restoration, as well as drainage, mold, and sewage cleanup. We are licensed, insured, and provide warranties on all of our projects. At Ness LLC, we treat every project with care, integrity, and quality, just as if it were our home.
So as you can see, Nest Restoration is a very well-established company within the Treasure Valley. It's been here since 1995, and its goal is to continue on. Every business, when they start business, they don't have a goal to only be in business for a couple of years. They want to keep going, and Doug Ness is no different. His goal has been to establish a quality company, to provide for its clients, and to make money in the overall. So with that, Doug's 62 years old and he's ready to retire. He has been running the show solely for the last 20 years, making business decisions, making managerial decisions, and making sure the jobs and the projects get done. He has decided to establish his future management team, who is included as Andrew Hunt, who's our lead estimator, Ryan Oliver, who is our lead project manager out in the field, and myself, who's the office manager. And so together, our goal is to actually take over the company in the next year. That being said, with a young management team, there's a lack of relevant experience in the past, and so we need to be able to be brought up to speed and actually understand business practices, understand how to make business decisions, how to make those right and wrong decisions, be able to see the consequences to any actions that we may have, as well as the industry training. We need to have industry-specific training certifications applied. None of us have actually been in the restoration business prior to this job, and we want to make sure that we are well understanding of the industry. That way we can make those best decisions. So where is this going to happen? The management training is going to be on site for the most part, on-the-job training to shadow Doug and to shadow other project managers that are have successes in this industry as management, as well as simulations on site, putting together information that is relevant and correct, that we can research and simulate them, the who's, the what's, the where, when's, why's, and how's on how to make best business decisions. The industry training is brought to us by different companies throughout the U.S., and 90% of them are classroom presentations for those certifications, such thing as water restoration technician, fire restoration technician, mold restoration technician, as well as the supervisory certifications for each of those. And there's also subcategories to those as well. And then also, once those certifications are made and received, there's a self-directed learning and the continued education. So not all certifications require continued education, but it would behoove us to take it upon ourselves to learn more, learn the updated information. That way we're providing the best quality service possible. When is this going to happen? Immediate implementation. We want this to happen right away. We want to start getting it into the works with those simulations on site, certification classes being researched, finding out when they're at, and scheduling and paying for those. It's going to be a slow, ongoing training process. We want to make sure that we're reducing the risk of impact on the business. We want to make sure that we're able to keep the revenue and the volume going without putting our clientele and our clients at any kind of risk for jobs taking too long or not actually, following through with what we said that we were going to do. And then we're going to have a 12-month window to fully implement this. The initial goal was to have Doug out of our payroll by the end of this year, but we don't see that happening. So we're shooting for this time next year, being able to look at what the information says right now and how we're doing with Doug still intact, and then what we're doing after it's implemented. So again, Doug's going to be leaving the business payroll, and we want to make sure that our young management team is going to take over effectively, even though there is that minimal industry expertise, minimal business experience in the supervisory standpoint, or the business management standpoint, and as well as the lack of knowledge of the current business practices of what's working for the company and how we want to keep going with that as long as it's the best for us and our employees. So how are we going to evaluate this? We've already taken down some interview information from the managerial team, as well as a questionnaire data that was filled out. And so we have that to start off, as well as our financial numbers. We can look at our fiscal year 2013, look at our revenue, which was about 1.1 million, and then also our volume was about 10 jobs per week, active jobs per week. And so we can look at that now and then look at that in the future. Being able to say that we failed would be if we didn't maintain or didn't reach these goals. Exceeding these goals would be, we'd actually be able to increase our revenue, maintain volume, or even lose volume at the same time of increasing that revenue. It means we're just getting better jobs. And so if we can look at that next year around this time and compare and contrast, that's going to be how we decide whether or not we're truly a success in it all. Some of the concerns that came up with interviewing the management team is Doug's really concerned about not maintaining those numbers. And he's one of the main areas he really feels that we need to focus on the transition is teaching the team how to feel the market. This is a little outdated, but that's kind of how he still runs the show. But that's one of our things that we want to still respect, is his desire for that, in a sense. Andrew Hunt, our lead estimator, he's really concerned about the managers having a difference of opinions. So our goal is to actually really work on building our team up and being able to learn how to work together. And he really wants to focus on learning how to feel the market. He is currently Doug's apprentice, and he's really he really idolizes what Doug does and how Doug's has built his business, and he wants to continue that. Ryan Oliver, our lead project manager out in the field, he really wants to he's really concerned about the managers not understanding how to collaborate. Again, really build up our management team. And then he really wants to focus on industry training for all the managers. He's a construction gentleman by trade. However, he's never been in this industry himself specifically, and so he really wants to make sure that all of us are on the same page with the same foundational knowledge. My main concern is the effective and quality training not taking place prior to this transition or during this transition. I really want to make sure that with this plan and anything that we do actually go through in the training aspect is that it's done well, it's done to the best of our abilities with the best knowledge and information that we can actually provide for ourselves. And I really want to focus on learning how to understand the market based on the research and data statistics, rather than feeling out the market as a full reason why we make the decisions we do. So even though there's that quote-unquote feel of the market and how it might be changing or how a project might be going, I really want to make sure that there's information to back that, rather than just by a gut feel. Women's intuition only works so well. So our goals are to increase the climate approval rating. Looking at the management team, and we actually looked at a couple areas within the team I talked to them about, was just kind of, what they thought, or how they felt, how they felt with the company success, the company management, how it's being run, the culture overall, and then also opportunities and the growth within the company. So right now we're sitting about a 65% approval rating, which is about a nice D, nice solid D. Unfortunately, Ds don't just, Ds might get degrees, maybe, but they won't, they don't ensure business success. You have to have a good team that's satisfied. And so the next year, our goal is to raise that about 80%. And we think that by providing these opportunities for the managerial team and in the future, our employees, we'll have our goal is for about 80% just from our managerial team alone in the next year. Our goal is to maintain the current volume during this transition. So right now we have 10 active jobs per week, and we want to maintain that. And eventually actually lessen that number, but still maintaining that revenue, if not increasing it overall. So right now our revenue, on average is about 1.1 million, and we're on track to meet that right now. So we want to make sure that we continue that and keep going with that number during this transition. So in conclusion, in summation, so Nest Restoration, fully locally owned and operated family company within the Treasure Valley, who's been here since 1995. There's a changing in business structure, so what we need is training on how to do it effectively. We need management training and industry training. Where is it going to happen? We're going to have this happen on site as well as in the classroom. We're going to have face-to-face one-on-one with industries, experts, as well as the experts within our own company helping us out. When are we going to implement this? It's immediately. We're going to have simulations starting for the management team to learn all the intricacies of making business decisions, as well as look into all those certification classes. It's going to be a slow process, but we're giving ourselves 12 months to actually complete this. Why are we doing this? It's because Doug Ness is leaving the payroll. He wants to be out of there. He wants to retire. He wants to go enjoy Alaska and Belize, where he's got vacation spots. There's a young management team taking over, so we need to get as much training and experience possible before he takes off. How are we doing it? How are we evaluating it? Is that we're going to we've got that information, those interview questionnaires and one-on-ones that we've already done with the management team that's taking over, how they feel about it. They're not exactly 100% satisfied with where the company's at right now. They're about 65% approval rating, and we really want to get that up to 80% in the next year and just continue to gain that approval as we go on. We really like to look at 2013's revenue and volume, about 10 jobs per week and about 1.1 million, and like to actually maintain that, if not decrease our volume, but actually increase our revenue. Some of the concerns really was about the management team working together and understanding how to make those decisions. So those are going to be addressed during our training, some of our learning objectives there. And then our goals, again, is just to really increase that climate approval and the business approval up to 80% in the next year, and keep that current volume and maintain that the revenue where we're at. So, any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks, guys.